What's up, everybody? It's your boy Adam back at it again for hashtag homeless. It's day 60 days of this nightmare. And so yeah, I found a place to sit on the ground and do these videos because it's gotten to the point where I can't even find like a bench or a table to sit at where it's quiet. I was walking over to this bench that I sit at a lot to do these videos over in the park here. I was 10-15 feet away from the bench, and some random guy came out of nowhere with a loud, obnoxious lawnmower and turned it on right when I was about to sit down, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I had to go for another walk and try to find a quiet place, and it was about as good as I can do. And you know, you're not going to be bothered by the background noise where I'm sitting right now. It's not bad. It's the same spot I was sitting for yesterday's video, but it's kind of ironic because let me get the camera. It's hard to hold the camera still because of the way I have to sit here. So yesterday, lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff. I don't even think that the stuff that I want to talk about today is going to fit in a video that is digestible for the, short attention span of Americans on YouTube. So I'm just going to do I'm going to go as long as I feel is right for today, and then I may just it may be continued tomorrow. I've got a week's worth of notes right now to talk about all kinds of things. A lot of it is because I went to church yesterday, and a lot of things happened, there. But even last night, we were sitting in the shelter watching this video that they put on. In the evenings, they do a little devotional video. I don't always stick around to watch it, but last night I was watching it, and it was kind of the video was like perfect for me last night, because it was about how you get wrapped up in your anxiety and your worries about, everything going on in your life, and that you're just so busy you don't have time to sit and geez, these bugs, man. I might have to leave this tree. But yeah, like I'm going through right now doing this video. I can't have a coherent thought because everything is just there's just so much chaos. I can't even, hold on a second. I'm going to have to stop. All right, I'm back. I just got to try and get myself a little more comfortable here. I'm like, it's hard to explain. This tree, I'm like sliding down a little embankment and I can't keep myself sitting up while I'm talking to you guys. I think I'm okay now, at least for the next 20 minutes or so. There's bugs everywhere. It's summer. That's what happens. Let's see here. So what I was saying about not being able to concentrate, that's what the video was about yesterday. And the funny thing is I couldn't concentrate on it because my mind was just all over the place. And not about Donald Trump, but about the stuff going on, the chaos I'm surrounded by constantly right now. And but one of the things in the video stood out to me, and it's the pastor was saying, sometimes you just need to find a quiet place to go, sit in a quiet place and just be with God. And I look up and I'm like, yeah, not in Jamestown. It's not going to happen in Jamestown. It's been 60 days, and I have no idea what quiet even sounds like. I have no idea what it sounds like to be in a quiet place. It's gone. There's stuff going on around me right now. I cannot get to a quiet place anywhere in this town. It does not exist. It does not exist. This town is nothing but constant, nonstop chaos and obnoxious noise everywhere you go. I mean, downtown Pittsburgh, I can find quiet places to go, and it's a much bigger city than this. Jamestown, this place is such chaos you can barely cross the street without getting hit by a car. It's unbelievable. Like, I am just in shock at how crazy this place is. I've never seen anything this crazy in my life, and I've traveled all over the place. at least in the United States. And this place, it just grinds me to a pulp. I would not, I don't even know where to go, but I can't find a quiet place. So the last time I knew what it was like to be quiet, I was in my ex-girlfriend's apartment after being released from prison, and while she was at work and the people in the apartment upstairs were gone, then it was quiet. I could get maybe 5-6 hours of quiet time. And like, there were times she'd come home all angry and pissed off about, why don't you ever fucking leave this apartment? And I was in prison and jails for 20 straight months. For 20 months. So that I went 20 months without ever hearing what silence sounds like. Not for one single minute in a span of 20 months did I understand or even have a moment to hear what silence sounds like, what quiet sounds like, because it does not, when you're in jail, when you're in prison, there's no such thing as silence and quiet. It does not exist. It does not exist. People who are doing 25, 30 years, life in prison, keep in mind, those people will never, during those 25 years, 30 years, whatever, they will never, not for one single minute of their existence will they understand what quiet sounds like. So I went through 20 months not knowing what quiet sounds like, and when she's coming home from work getting all mad, like, why don't you want to leave the apartment, you lazy piece of shit, and all that kind of stuff, I went 20 months without hearing what silence sounds like. So maybe I just want to sit here, I'm doing my thing, I'm working on stuff, I'm on my computer, I'm building a portfolio, I'm looking for it. I'm not lazy. But quiet. Oh my God, quiet was the most unbelievable thing to experience after going through that. Just being able to sit somewhere where it's quiet was just precious. So precious. And ever since I walked out the door of that apartment, I haven't heard it I have not heard quiet one single minute. Not one single minute since I walked out of that apartment have I understood or could experience what quiet sounds like. So if you have a quiet place to go and be with God and experience what that's like, just keep in mind, oh my God, dude, just like I was saying, there's a bunch of people just showed up with gas-powered weed whackers and all kinds of stuff, and oh my God, I'm gonna have to hit stop again. All right, the background is still loud and obnoxious because I'm sitting next to this dam on the river that comes through town. But at least the gas-powered weed whackers and the tractors that they just started up over where I was sitting before, unless, you gotta be kidding if they're coming over here. I see one headed this way. They better just stay over there. This is crazy. There's no, like I said, it's been 60 days. I have not heard one single minute of quiet. I've walked close to, I'm closing in on 300 miles walking. What the hell was that noise? I can't believe that. I gotta hit stop again. This is nuts. All right, I'm back again. Batshit crazy lunatic who walks around this town just tried to start a fucking fight with me. And so I got away from him. And this dude's out of his fucking mind. He just walks around town screaming at the top of his lungs at everybody he can see, and if there's nobody around, he just yells and screams out loud. I don't know, man, this place. But like I said, I think it's kind of ironic that I'm trying to find a quiet place to do this video, to talk to you about how you can't find a quiet place here in Jamestown, and here you can hear that noise in the background. But I have gone 60 days straight, not one single minute, not 30 seconds, not 10 seconds, not one single minute of here's what quiet sounds like. Not one minute. Prior to the few weeks that I was at my ex-girlfriend's apartment where I could get small doses of what quiet sounds like, I went 20 months without not one single minute, not 1 minute of what quiet sounds like, not one single solitary minute of quiet. in that whole experience. So that is exactly why this preacher was talking about in this video about why you've got to find a quiet place to go talk to God and just be with God. Because if you don't, look at me, you'll go nuts from it. Yeah, it's really starting to wear me down. And the fact that I can't just have a quiet moment's peace to just be with God and be still, be quiet, just listen. It doesn't exist here in this town. You can't do it. It's impossible. In Jamestown, I've walked close to 300 miles since I became homeless, and there's absolutely no possible way or place where you can, there's no possibility of finding a quiet place to do that in this entire city. Like I said, you can be in downtown Pittsburgh and find a quiet place. I know where they are. I used to go to them. I used to go to them for that reason. Here in Jamestown, there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go. So I'm already so many minutes into this video, and that's all I've talked about. And that doesn't even begin to touch the things that I wanted to talk about today. It's, wow, it's crazy. And so yesterday in church, a piece of scripture came up, and along with so much more, there's so much to unpack just from what church brought to me yesterday that I'm not going to be able to fit it in this video. I've got an hour and a half before I've got to go to the first of 2 job interviews today. And so I would like to be somewhat mentally prepared for that, but I don't think, these aren't going to be pressure cooker interviews. I'm not really worried about it. I think the fact that I'm going on 2 interviews today means, so yesterday at the homeless shelter in the evening, somebody called looking for workers to go help set up a county fair or something like that that's going on in a neighboring town. And they would come and pick everybody up and pay everybody and feed everybody who wants to go work there today. And of course, I have 2 job interviews today, so I had to make a choice. Do I cancel these 2 job interviews so that I can go work and get paid for a single day? Or do I go and get paid for 1 day of work and cancel these interviews and lose out on maybe something long term? So, once again, it's just, I made my choice. I'm always going to focus on the long game here, because you can teach a man to fish, or you can feed a man a fish. You feed a man a fish and he eats for a day. You teach a man to fish, he can eat for a lifetime. You go and work today for 1 day, and I need to buy a new pair of boots. So, go work for 1 day, you can buy a pair of boots. Go find a full-time job that lasts a long time, and you can feed yourself and buy lots of boots, and you can put a roof over your head. So that's the decision I made. Like I said, I've walked almost 300 miles in these boots now, and there are holes popping up in the bottom of these. These boots were almost brand new when I walked out the door of that apartment. And in 300 miles of walking around this town, I've already worn through the bottom of the treads to where it's in like the soft foamy parts of the boots. And now every day that I walk in these boots, they're just wearing out fast. I've probably got about a week left in these boots before I may as well have a pencil eraser as a sole on these boots, because they're just falling apart. And these were expensive hiking boots that I had bought before I'd been arrested. I just never wore them that much. $260 pair of Keen hiking boots. But I did see that Amazon has the same exact boots. I could get them for like $150. I just need to, once again, because of the prison situation, I lost access to my Amazon account, and I got to go through probably a week worth of who knows what to get that unlocked. And then I would have to have these things sent to the homeless shelter, and then they're going to be up my ass like, where'd you get the money for these boots, and why aren't you, paying us? And like, it's a never-ending shit show. If I can find a pair of boots in a store and I can somehow pay for them, they're going to cost a lot more, but I won't have to answer any questions about, where'd you get the money for these boots? And so, oh my goodness, this is so difficult. So anyway, circle back. This piece of scripture came up in church yesterday along with all this other stuff. And then the same verse from scripture came up again in the devotional video that I was telling you about, the one where it told me to go find a quiet place to meet with God. The same exact verse came up in that video. And then again, this morning, I was reading today's entry in a book that's called Jesus Calling, written by a woman named Sarah Young. And I began reading this book while I was in prison. Not every single day, but I tried to read each day's entry. It's a really good book. It's very short read every day, and it's just a really good, especially if you're going through something crazy like this, it's a really good book that just helps you kind of focus on what Jesus wants you to focus on instead of what you want to focus on and worrying about tomorrow when, there's enough to worry about today. You don't got to worry about tomorrow. That's the theme of this book more often than not. But yeah, so I'm reading that book this morning and the same exact verse pops up in the devotional book for today. So I'm like, okay, once, that's okay. Twice in the same day, okay, maybe that's just a coincidence, but 3 times in a row like that, I think God's trying to tell me something here. And that verse is, it's in 2 Corinthians. I don't have the, it's 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. And he says, my grace is all you need. What the? People are just popping out. Oh my goodness, dude. I cannot find a place to just relax in this town. Someone just, never mind. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9 says, my grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. So now I am glad to boast about my weaknesses so that the power of Christ can work through me. And as I'm reading that to you, you can see one of my weaknesses right now is that I need a quiet place. I need to go sit in a quiet place for a couple hours. I just need to know. I need to figure out what quiet sounds like again. I had a small taste of it when I got out of prison here and there, but it was also a whole lot of toxic drama went with having a place to have silence. And it basically just kind of counteracted each other. I'd sit in silence for a couple hours, and then it was total chaos and being screamed and yelled at for 3 or 4 hours in the evening. So it was like it didn't work. But anyway, Paul, he had an affliction that he talked about, and he asked God over and over again to remove it from him, but God wouldn't take it away. But he still promised to demonstrate his power with Paul. And the fact that God's power is displayed even in our weaknesses should give us courage and hope. I'm seeing God's power, even though I'm at the bottom of my life. I'm at rock bottom right now. And I still see the power of God everywhere I look. It's not always just blatant and in my face like I want it to be or like I would hope it would be, but it's there. It's there. And as we recognize our limitations, we will depend more on God for our effectiveness rather than our own energy, effort, or talent. I can relate to that. Because no matter how much energy, effort, or talent I put into what I'm trying to do right now, I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not getting anywhere on my own. I can tell you that. I'm still homeless. I'm still at rock bottom. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to get from one day to the next. It don't matter how much I grind right now. Because it has to come from God at this point. And it has to be on his time. I wish I knew when that time would come That, this is frustrating. This is I'm at the bottom. I'm at the rock. But I've never felt so low in my entire life than I do right now. Aside from the chaos of watching America completely fall apart and die and become a third world cesspool. That in itself is stressful, but today I'm not trying to think of that. I'm trying to focus on what's in front of me. Our limitations, they not only help develop our Christian character, but they also deepen our worship, because in admitting them, we affirms God's strength. I admit, yesterday, I went on a tirade in a 20-minute long video where I dropped an F-bomb every 30 seconds or less. That's a weakness of mine, that sometimes if I get all worked up about something, it's F this and F that and F-D fuckity F, 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 F. And, I don't want to carry that around with me for the rest of my life. I've been surrounded by people who talk like that, and I talk like that since I was in like the 4th or 5th grade. That's when that started. And everybody in my career, people I've been surrounded by my entire life, I'm constantly surrounded by people who talk like that. And it's just a normal thing. It's not considered, I guess back in the day, when my grandparents were alive, that would have been considered a really bad thing and a mark of a really bad person. But nowadays, that's just how people talk. So our society is very much accepting of that kind of speech. And so it's just how I said it started when I was in the 5th grade. Let's say I was 10 years old. I'm 48 now. So 38 years of talking like that, it becomes a habit. And it's a hard habit to break. So anyway, there's that stuff going on. The homeless shelter, like I said, there's not a moment's peace. There's not a moment's quiet. A lot of drama last night. Someone OD'd and was found passed out on a bathroom floor. Ambulances, all that kind of stuff, yelling and screaming and all that kind of stuff. But I was up on the 3rd floor sitting in the private room when all this was happening. And I just stayed up there. I kind of looked out the doorway and peeked over the banister to see what was going on. And I was like, looks like it's being handled. I'm just going to hang out upstairs because I've had enough. I don't want to get in the middle of it. It's the paramedics are here. Everything's being handled. I'm just going to get in the way. I'll stay up here. This morning we woke up, went to breakfast. Big speech about, what happened the night before, last night. And then in this speech, I didn't know this because I've been staying out of the place for so much, most of the day. I guess they've had to Narcan someone 5 times. Not the same person, I don't think. But they've had to break out Narcan and revive people 5 times in the last week here at the shelter. So, you've heard me complain about the rules and being treated like a little kid sometimes, and that people cop attitudes with, some people who work there, are bitter and they cop an attitude and that kind of stuff. And yeah, it happens. But I've also said in the same videos that I know why. I know why they've got these rules in place. I know why people get downtrodden and get a bad attitude and just get burned out, because like I said, they had to Narcan people 5 times in the span of a week. I mean, it reminds me of this guy I was in jail with. There was a guy who I was in jail with, and he was more of a short timer. He was probably doing a couple months being a meth addict or something like that. He had like 2 teeth left in his mouth. He his whole face and body covered in tattoos. He was just completely out of his mind the whole time. But he was telling us, he worked in the kitchen at the jail with us, and he was bragging about this. Now, he was bragging about this. He wasn't like remorseful or anything. He bragged about how he overdosed on heroin 5 times in a single week and had to be Narcaned and taken to the hospital 5 times in a single week. And every time he left the hospital, he would go and shoot up again and have to get Narcaned because he almost died 5 times in a single week. And he said he couldn't wait to get out of jail because he's going to go do it again. I mean, this is where people are at in some cases. This is the level that it blows my mind that that's your goal in life is, as soon as I get out of jail, I'm going to get high and try to die on a heroin overdose yet again, after I tried 5 times in a week and couldn't pull it off. So this is what happens. And, you know, if this is what you're surrounded by 24/7, it's going to have an effect on you. There's no way around it. But on the flip side, I always talk about both sides of things. It's been very good for my mental health. And you see me having a little bit of a issue today with, you know, just the lack of silence and everything. But it's been really good for my mental health, having this private room and just a little bit more freedom and trust at the homeless shelter. It's been very, very good for my mental health. I don't even know how many days that this has been going on. It's all kind of a blur right now. But just the fact that I can go up there and have it's not quiet. The neighborhood around it's not quiet. But it's quiet enough that I can sit there with my laptop at a desk and I can, you know, nobody's coming up and telling me I have to go to bed anymore. So I can stay up and work on some things. And last night, I think I was tired, but there's this busy work that social services wants me to do every week, and it takes time, and it's a little bit ridiculous. And so I had no energy last night. I was burned out, but I sat there and I got this busy work out of the way, and it took me about an hour and a half to get that done. And that was what I was working on when the ambulances and stuff showed up. So with all that drama going on, that was about the level of task that I could get accomplished last night. But it feels good today knowing that I could get that done last night, because I've got 2 job interviews today and I've got a lot of stuff that's going to take up all my time today. And knowing that I got that stuff out of the way, that's a peace of mind, because this all has to be done and turned in at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, or maybe 4, something like that. All I know is I'm going to go to the library after the job interviews are done, and and the email is sitting in the draft folder with the attachment, the subject line, the body, and everything's ready to go. I literally could sit here on my phone right now and hit the button and send that message and have it crossed off my list. So anytime today, I can just open up Gmail, hit that button, boom, it's gone, it's done, it's out of my hair. I don't have to worry about it today. If I didn't have that private room at the homeless shelter, I wouldn't have been able to get that done last night. I would have had to be scrambling today, and I would have probably been a little bit stressed out over it. But instead, I was able to cross it off my list, and I don't have to worry about it today. Let's see, what else is going on there? Another benefit of having the room to myself. The guy who smells like a dead corpse that I mentioned a few videos back, he's stinking again. Stinking pretty bad. You can smell him from 2 rooms away. So the people that run the shelter, they had to yell at him. They yelled at him in everybody's presence yesterday. All the people were all sitting in a room together, and the people that worked there went up to him and said, "Look, dude, you got to take a shower." They're like, "You are smelling so bad. You need to take a shower once in a while. What's going on, dude? We gave you soap. We gave you washcloth. We gave you everything you need. Go take a shower. Go do it. We need to get you some new shoes, because your feet smell so bad that your shoes are probably going to rot off of your feet in the next week." So having that room where I can just get away from all that stuff, I don't have to be around that anymore at night. Once again, big upgrade, big boost to my mental health. Oh, now the sun's out, so I don't know if the camera here is going to just flake out. Let me take a look here. Take a good time check. We're at like 20 minutes plus the other couple of videos. We're at like 26 minutes probably. I'll spend a few more. Let's see. Yesterday, Tim Hortons, the guy from the library who sits around bitching about Trump all day. I've talked about him several times. He was really happy yesterday when he came into Crazy Tim Hortons, and he kept walking around telling everybody, well, they're going to get Donald Trump next time. They're going to get him next time. You only missed him by an inch. They're going to try again. They're going to get him. He's not going to be president. They're going to take it. And he was all thrilled. He was thrilled that someone tried to shoot Donald Trump in the head on Saturday. You know, keep in mind, this guy is not doing 20 months in federal prison for his statements, you know, because Democrats get to say whatever the hell they want. But the other people in Tim Hortons, they were mad at him, and they started yelling at him and told him to shut the F up. And they drove him out of the restaurant. They chased him out. And I'm just sitting there watching this whole drama unfold. I didn't say a word about it. But this guy shows up, and he just goes around basically complaining about Donald Trump until someone will agree with him, and then you're like his best friend, and he'll sit down and just bitch about Trump for the next 2 hours. And so all these people in the restaurant, they weren't having it. They weren't having it, and they told him to shut up, and they chased him out of the restaurant. Pretty much everybody that nobody can stand this guy. Like, there's so many of these characters in Jamestown that are just here every day, and you deal with them every day, and he's one of them, and nobody can stand this guy. Nobody can stand him. But, you know, that's it for me in the politics today. I did enough of that yesterday. So I skipped the plugs again today because I just wanted to get right into it. Yesterday, I knew I would lose subscribers. And I knew that I would be getting a bunch of dumbass comments from the trolls in response to the political views I shared yesterday. And, you know, once again, that's fine. I must have been dropping some serious truth bombs along with my F-bombs yesterday right over the target. You know, why I know this is because when you're flying over the target, that's when you take flak. When you're flying to and from the target, the skies are friendly and calm. It's you know, you're flying the friendly skies. It's like you have first class seats on a Boeing before it falls apart. But when you're over the target, you're going to start taking some flack. So yeah, I don't really care that I lost some subscribers yesterday, even though I'm really close to that holy grail of 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube. You know, here's the deal. You know, sometimes when you're planting a garden, you got to pull the weeds out of your garden once in a while, or the fruit won't be able to grow. So, you know, don't worry. I grew a few new followers and subscribers after pulling out the weeds, and we're kind of evened out. I don't know where I'm at right now when you're watching this video, but I kind of broke even yesterday, but now the fruit can start to grow again. I got rid of some weeds, and the fruit has room to grow. And believe me, it's going to be the best fruit you've ever seen. There's never been a more succulent fruit since the people have been growing fruits. It's the biggest mouth-watering fruit, and it will never be allowed to grow if crooked Joe Biden has his way. So, you know, there's my best Donald Trump impression. I'm sorry, I'm done with the politics for this video, I swear. I don't even know if I have time to go into any more stuff about church yesterday. Let's see where it goes. I've got a few minutes. So I went to church yesterday, and once again, God had something that he wanted me to hear. And it was kind of unexpected. Instead of a sermon, they had these two guest speakers. It was a husband and wife who started a Christian school in the country of Spain, about 20 minutes north of Madrid. And they were just here to talk about their school and the things that they're up to, being, you know, missionaries. And I was kind of bored, if I'm being honest. I was a little distracted, and I wasn't really concentrating while he was giving this PowerPoint presentation, because I wanted to hear a sermon, a nice, fiery, juicy sermon. And but this guy goes and says something when he begins talking about how hard the first year was for him and his wife when they were trying to put this school together. And he said, it was just like we are trying to build an airplane while we are flying the airplane. And I'm like, wow, dude, this guy has my attention now. Because, remember when I was talking to you guys about how my life and my current project load, it feels more like the way software is designed today, where you just cobble things together until they're just good enough to get out the door, but you don't worry about it being perfect, or you don't worry about it even being finished. Don't hide everything behind the curtain until you think it's perfect and you think it's ready, but just throw it up for people to see as soon as it's, somewhat passable. That's how my portfolio has been put together. I worked on it until it was just good enough to send my resume out. In fact, it was just slightly better than the portfolio I used to get my last major design job before I was arrested. And I could spend another 300 to 1,000 hours on this project, just making it better and better. But what good will it do me to spend another 300 or more hours without sending any resumes out or trying to find a job in the meantime? I've even added several things to the portfolio since I launched it, and it's only gotten better, but I'm still in the process of building this airplane while I try to fly the airplane. Once again, my photography store, I started by cobbling together a basic photography showcase page just to show you guys, just email me if you like something and we can go from there. That was good enough just to show you my photography, but what's the next step? The next step, I added 4 photographs to an Etsy store, and I sent you guys there with some links and some plugs in these videos. I had 4 photos listed for sale, but what happened? You guys started buying them. And once again, that store is at shop.litgood.com. There, I'll throw in one plug for the episode here. But should I have waited until I had 20 or 30 photos listed and a store that looked established and complete before sending out the link? I don't think so, because you guys started buying stuff as soon as I put 4 of them up. So my empty storefront was actually doing more good for me than a perfect storefront would have done if I had just waited another month or 2 to get it finished. Once again, the result of building an airplane while I'm trying to fly the airplane. The YouTube channel that you're watching right now, it's the same thing. I'm just a dude holding a cell phone camera and speaking into the microphone as a podcast with a face. No editing, no graphics, no jingle or theme music, no logo. I do have some cool thumbnail designs, but that's about it. Sometimes I talk about homelessness. Sometimes I talk about God and Jesus, and sometimes I rant about politics. I share crazy stories from my past and whatever comes up. But I don't have the energy or the time or the bandwidth to do anything more than that right now. I was like 20-something videos in before I even created a design for the thumbnails. Why? Because I'm too busy flying the plane that I'm also trying to build at the same time I'm flying it. So things aren't going to be perfect. I'm building a social media presence. I'm looking for a job. I'm building a second photo store to link to this YouTube channel. I'm adding videos to multiple platforms. I'm looking for an apartment. I'm walking 50 miles or more every week. I'm closing in on 300 miles since I became homeless. Like I said, both of my hiking boots that were almost brand new, they're worn through to where they have holes in the bottom. My toes are going to start poking through pretty soon. And that's in a span of just 60 days. This week I have to cobble enough money together to go buy boots, and I got to find the time to go get them. And I can expect another 2 months out of a brand new pair of boots before they got a hole in the bottom and my toe's going to poke out. Why? Because I'm flying a plane while I'm trying to build it. And whenever I land, I have to use my feet as brakes because I can't even afford the wheels for the plane yet. I'm like flying a Fred Flintstone plane where I have to stick my feet out the bottom when I come in for a landing and skid to a halt. And it's wearing out the bottom of my shoes faster than anything. So that guy's message at church, it hit me hard. And it made me start thinking about the things that I was just talking to you about in the last week, about how hard it is to juggle so many things and how you have to let go of perfection and just keep pushing things along inch by inch and day by day instead of trying to focus on perfecting everything. And I think that's a good place for me to stop today, because the next thing I want to talk about that goes along with what I'm talking about here, you're looking at another half hour before I'll be able to finish the video. So I think I'll just mark it and I'll pick up where I left off tomorrow. And, you know, if anything crazy happens between now and then, you know, like getting a job, I'll talk about that as well. So I hope you all have a good day. Thanks for the support of this channel and what I'm going to do right now. And wow, it just started to sprinkle like it's gonna, like some rain's coming my way. So it definitely is the right time to shut this video off and start heading up to where I've got to go to my job interview in about an hour. So once again, I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you all tomorrow.